What's up, Infected, and welcome to the Quarantine. I do have John here, the GM from Gale Force 9. How you doing today?
Very good, and you?
I'm doing as good as I can off of such a little sleep. So here at Gen Con 50, historic event here.
It is marvelous, it really is good.
The number of people here is insane.
It is, yep. I've never seen it as busy in here, and I've been coming here, 9 to 11 years. This is insane. That's a very good word for it.
Yeah, this is my first time here, and seeing the sheer number of people is just overwhelming. But some of the games you have out here, you have, of course, Star Trek Ascendancy. Yep. You have the Doctor Who game. What is that one called?
That's Doctor Who, just Doctor Who, that's all it needs to be. Time of the Daleks is its undertitle.
Okay.
Yes, it'll be out in October, end of October. It's a semi-cooperative game that you must cooperate, otherwise the Daleks will always win.
Oh, okay.
But you mustn't cooperate enough that you don't win either. So you'd want to help your friends just enough that they come in second place, never first.
Just enough to get by, but
yep,
it's
just
every man for himself.
Just to make sure that the Daleks do not win. Yeah.
Now, what Doctors does this cover?
This covers the First Doctor, Tom Baker, Matt Smith, and I always butcher the last guy's name. And the last Doctor prior to the new Doctor, who's the female.
I can't remember his
Capaldi.
name.
That's it. I do apologise for that. Capaldi, a slight brain fart there.
No Tennant, right?
No Tennant and Davidson come out in the very first expansion.
Okay. So I was going to say, kind of an odd choice, no Tennant.
Well, we did decide to go with a 6-player game.
Yeah.
And when we went out to High Street, they said we would much prefer a $50 price point rather than a $75.
Which is fair.
So the easiest way is drop 2 Doctors out. They come in the new expansion, but they will still be the $75 price point, so you're not getting gouged for an extra $5 or anything like that. Yeah.
That's cool. I'm not a huge Doctor Who fan, but I know a lot of people are. I know the basics.
That's all good.
Now, Star Trek Ascendancy, I see you have the Cardassian Union and the Ferengi Alliance.
Yep. So I'm going to say finally. So when your listeners all go, but it's late, you're absolutely right. We apologise deeply for it. Completely our fault. We messed it up as in production things. They are out now. We're back on track, and we have the Borg coming in the end of September as well.
Now I'm super hyped for the Borg because resistance is, of course, futile.
And in our game, it very much is that way. What it does is it works on an AI. And it comes on...
so it's not a player?
Not at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
It comes on, and what actually happens is it's a bit random, but when it bumps into somebody, and it then has the ability to try and assimilate them, if they are successful, then that player then becomes the Borg.
That is awesome.
And so it's almost that one where you don't want to be the first out, but you do because you know you're going to be able to mess up everybody else's game.
Now, can multiple players wind up being the Borg? Can you continue to assimilate?
No, from once you're assimilated, you don't then 2 of you become... Sadly, that guy's off making tea for
that would also make the game insanely difficult probably to figure out. Do you have anything coming out in the near future that, of course, that you can talk about that you'd be willing to speak about?
In games or for Star Trek?
In general, Star Trek or games. I'm a big Star Trek nerd, so I'd be cool with Star Trek.
Nothing is confirmed. My personal opinion is we should move on to Vulcans, but I don't know whether I can actually convince anybody to do it quite yet.
Odd that Vulcans, of all things, the Ferengi are in and not the Vulcans.
Yeah, I think it's just choice and also ideas.
Yeah,
the Ferengi has a very cool way of playing. Maybe the designers that are going through there, and sadly, I'm sure a lot of your listeners already know this. Our head designer for this passed away last Christmas.
Oh.
So a little bit of a kick in the teeth there for us, as in he was just a storm of information and ideas, and poor Sean is no longer with us, which is a crying shame.
Yeah, it is.
So we've got to step it up there. Aaron is more than capable, but of course he's now doing it on his own.
Yeah,
and you can only manage so much.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Now, what about in general here with the rest of the games? So now you got.
Well, our 2 other games that are coming up is obviously Doctor Who that we've spoken about, and the one that I have a personal cheer about is almost the away mission for Firefly. So this is called Firefly Adventures. It now allows you to be Mal, to be Kaylee. You know, instead of just flying a ship, you're actually down there with miniatures, playing in the away zones when you're picking up your gear, misbehaving, all that sort of stuff. It has non-action and action figures in it. So when you are in non-action, you are just normal. You're just strolling along, saying, don't look at me, and that sort of thing. Then you start to misbehave, and suddenly your figure changes into an action pose, and everybody knows what's going on, and to have the proverbial S hits the fan, it does.
now, is it like a one versus all? I haven't gotten a chance to sit down and try it. Is it a one versus all? No, again, a
cooperative game to achieve the missions that you're doing.
Okay, so the bad guys, the ones that are going to...
Yep, and they're
all AI.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
that's cool. That's cool. Because I had passed by and looked at it a couple times. I hadn't had a chance to sit down. I noticed you have these big mats here for various games. Now, I noticed the Firefly one is enormous.
Yes. Yes, you're actually looking at the smaller of the enormous thing. The Vera mat, which is the largest one we do, which is 6x4, that takes 6 players. It's got places for cards, for everything you can do. Because again, as your guys know very much, when you get the whole Firefly out, there's a lot of cards on that table.
It rivals, from what I've seen, I don't own Firefly myself. I'm actually of the unpopular opinion, I didn't care much for Firefly, like the show. Game I've been wanting to try because I've heard it's much different. But I've seen pictures and it almost seems to rival games like Eldritch Horror.
Absolutely.
In terms of just stuff on the table.
It's an in-depth game. Absolutely.
Well, was there anything else that's maybe coming out in the future?
Show, the only other thing we've got is the D&D exclusives for Minsk and Boo, the Frost Giants, the Dreadnought Giant, and that sort of thing. And the last one is the D&D cards that we do for Dungeons and Dragons. And just to let people know that there will be 3 new decks coming out for that: the 2 monster decks and the magical deck, and you should be seeing them at about November.
Well, that is awesome, man. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me, and I appreciate it, man.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Enjoy.